young in order to get houses. This was part of the so-called property-owning democracy of Thatcher and of Reagan and the likes. That's been smashed in this crisis. There are 5 million people in Britain who believe they'll never get on the housing ladder and believe that social housing, which was attacked by Thatcher, attacked by Blair, attacked by Brown, that's the only way that they would get a decent house. So this idea of the golden staircase with which ordinary people could climb to a nice little safe house, that's over. That's been shattered for this generation.
So has capitalism failed? What would the Socialist Party do in these circumstances?
Well, capitalism first of all has failed, and it's failed not just in theory, which we always argued against, the idea that capitalism could solve the problems of working class people. It's important for us to see that in this crisis our arguments have been vindicated, and those people who said that capitalism was the best system for the delivery of goods and services to the peoples of the world, that idea has been shattered in this crisis. There will be a price to pay, a small price by the bankers and the capitalists, a big price by the working class of the advanced industrial countries, but perhaps a much worse and heavier price by the masses in the neo-colonial world of Africa, of Asia and of Latin America. So capitalism has failed. What is the alternative? The alternative is socialism. Now that's an idea whose time has come. The problem is, because of the orgy of capitalist propaganda of the last 20-25 years and the capitulation of the right wing of the labour movement, the trade unions and the ex-leaders of the ex-workers' parties, now the forces of socialism are quite small, but they will grow, they will multiply on the basis of the experience of the masses in this crisis.
So the opponents of the Socialist Party say, okay, you say socialism, but look what happened in the Soviet Union. That's what they say. With the rise of Stalin, the one-party state, there'll be no democracy, there'll be no choice. Not that we have much choice at the moment, but is this the case?
Well, on your last point about choice, we were told there would be a diversity of economic choice in the market, and yet what we have is an enormous concentration of the banks, where in effect most of the banking system in America and Britain is being outrightly nationalised or partially nationalised, in the sense that the government is giving a blank cheque, is underwriting, and that's a savage criticism of so-called choice under capitalism. As to the Soviet Union, this is an old scarecrow that the capitalists always wheel out of the cupboard to say, if you go to establish socialism, you'll have a one-party regime, as happened under Stalin, as it happened under the one-party bureaucratic regime in Russia. But that regime arose because of particular circumstances of the break with capitalism coming in a backward country, in an underdeveloped country where the peasants, with the majority of the population, the working class, were a minority. We're talking about the 21st century here, with an enormous development of the level of culture, of education, of the intelligence of the population today, including the working class. And there is no way in Britain or in any of the advanced industrial countries that the working class, once having eliminated capitalism and established the socialist system with democracy, that they would allow a greedy, usurping, privileged bureaucracy to arise. And moreover, we would introduce, that's the socialists would introduce, strict controls over privilege. In Russia, for instance, you could earn no more than 4 times the average wage. Much less than that would be necessary in modern society. Not 250 times, which is what some CEOs earned in America compared to the average wage of the American worker.